Whether you're doing keto, low carb, or following any diet or any way of eating, it is now universally accepted that refined carbohydrates and added sugars are one of the biggest problems when it comes to health. In this video, I will talk about why that is the case, understand how many food labels can be misleading, and how to calculate net carbs so that you can make a better decision when it comes to your health. My name is Fahad, and I am the founder of Ketogeek, a food business that makes energy pods, which are premium, artisan, and high-quality food emulsions in a compact, tasty, and shelf-stable form, unlike anything you can find in the market. In order to better understand this topic, let us first go back in time and understand how the food industry has evolved. Raw edible plants, the primary sources of sugars and refined carbohydrates, consist of complicated networks of nutrients such as proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, and minerals, all bound with non-nutritive components such as fiber to give the plant its rigid structure. Throughout human evolution, humans have used their teeth to break these structures to obtain these nutrients for absorption. However, our digestive system isn't very efficient at obtaining these nutrients, and many times in many raw foods, nutrients are still left intact after passing through our digestive system. As they say, man is a tool-wielding animal. And humans eventually learned how to cook and grind using various tools, which improved the efficiency to acquire more nutrients for the body by performing much superior and faster jobs than our own teeth. Over time and through the power of industrialization, we were able to not just extract more nutrients, but we're also able to isolate specific nutrients while creating new types of foods that were tasty, convenient, and shelf-stable. Combining this with the growth of colonialization, trade, and advancements in agriculture, certain staple foods such as wheat for bread making and sugars for making prized desserts became more and more desirable. Over time, these foods, especially sugary foods, trickled from the rich and ruling class to the middle class all the way to the 20th century when these delicacies became cheap commodities. However, in the mid to late 20th century, as many such refined foods became affordable and readily available for everyone, humanity started trading world hunger with modern diseases such as diabetes and associated health conditions with obesity. All of this tragically has turned foods that were once coveted into fillers and food structures that are readily absorbed in our body with minimal feeling of fullness associated with them. Much of this has to do with how the structure of raw foods are different from many modern foods of our time. In raw foods, because of the complicated networks of nutrients and non-nutrients, the digestion time and sensation of fullness is more pronounced. And in many modern foods and drinks, especially those loaded with sugars and refined carbohydrates, you become hungry quicker. This is where calculating net carbs can be a very helpful tool to reduce these modern sources of refined carbohydrates and free sugars that are not inhibited by our body because of their free structure. Now that we understand why net carbs are calculated, let us look at how you can actually do it. When you look at a nutrition label, all you have to do is subtract fiber and sugar alcohols from the total carbohydrates. Fibers usually provide little to no energy, while sugar alcohols, depending on the type, may either be completely inert or have a smaller impact on blood sugar and energy value than sugars or refined carbohydrates. We use erythritol in our energy pods, which is a sugar alcohol that is completely inert and in fact a metabolite found in our own body and in small amounts in various fruits and vegetables. So, for example, in our current version of the chocolate fudge energy pod, you would subtract the 5 grams of fiber and 9 grams of erythritol from 17 grams of total carbohydrates. This would leave you with 3 grams of net carbs, which come from almonds themselves that are used in the energy pods. For many low-carb diets, ketogenic diets, and for anyone who wants to cut down sugars from their diet, calculating net carbs is a great way to figure out which food product is loaded with free sugars and refined carbohydrates and which one is sweet and tasty but doesn't come with the calories and the glucose response. A very important thing to note here is that not all sweeteners and fibers are created equal. Sugar alcohols such as maltitol may have a significant glucose response, or rare sugars such as allulose may have a low stomach tolerance. Erythritol has the highest stomach tolerance among non-nutritive sweeteners and doesn't spike blood sugar or insulin like some of the others. This is why we use it in our energy pods. Many types of fibers or added fibers in packaged foods can cause a rise in glucose or insulin, or may lead to digestive discomfort as well. So you have to watch out for that. One of the biggest misleading thing in the food industry is when a food product is advertised as containing no added sugar, but it ends up being laced with free sugars because of how it is processed. After all, sugar beets that are the biggest source of sugar in the United States are also vegetable tubers. So you can literally make the claim that table sugar is made from vegetables or made from tubers. The truth of the matter is that the source of the sugar is not as important, but what you get at the end of the processing is what matters. In nearly all packaged foods, baked goods, and sugary sodas, what you end up with is ultra-refined carbohydrates and free sugars that can be problematic. In other words, refined carbohydrates and free sugars are for practical purposes the same, even if the sources may be different. To sum it up, the food industry is in a bit of a mess. Obesity and diabetes rates are skyrocketing with no end in sight, especially in the United States and across the globe. Many of us know at least one loved one or someone close to us who is suffering or may have prematurely lost their lives because of this. Life is short. Let's not make it shorter. Together, let us invest in good quality foods and our health so that we can create a better future for ourselves and the others that will be walking on the face of this planet in the future. The change begins with you. Thank you so much for watching. Let us make the world a better place with better foods and better choices. You can subscribe below to stay updated on more of our content as we continue to post.